Hey, what's up, guys? It's your good friend Jimbo. Today's episode is presented by Vaer. Vaer was founded with the goal of building an affordable everyday wristwatch that blends tasteful design with extreme durability and functionality. Vaer returns a sense of dignity to affordable wristwatches and are built to last. Vaer is a true American watch company specializing in both quartz and automatic watches. Vaer is offering our listeners 15% off if you use the code PODGO15. Go to vaerwatches.com to learn more and get your new timepiece today.
You heard the rest. Now here's the best. Stay tuned, Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here. Kind of happy. Just got done watching the Philadelphia Flyers nearly giveaway game to the Islanders. They won in overtime, 4-3. I got home. I missed the first period, I believe it was, because turned it on and it was already 3-0. Had some other stuff to do. When I turned it back on, it's started the third period and it's 3-1. Islanders came back, tied it up. Last 3 minutes of the game. Lane Vigneault decided to challenge the offsides on the third goal for offsides, and I mean, maybe he had a better angle with his monitors and all that stuff, but the best angle that they put up on TV basically would have been one of those guessing, was he offsides, was he not offsides type situations. But either way, pulled off the win. Series is tied 1-1. We will get into some hockey predictions talk, even though, I know the series started earlier this week as a Mustang 5-0 goes past us. I think I did pretty decent with the last round. I picked the Capitals to lose to the Islanders. I think I did pick Boston to lose, but they're playing. But we'll get into that, as well as our good former Philadelphia Eagle player Nigel Bradham back in the news. Brings great joy to myself. I know a lot of you guys don't really probably care about his situation, but with what he said about us, karma's a bitch. So before we get into the show, head over to Twitter, follow us there at ST Sports Podcast, and actually just head over to the website, staytunesports.net. All the social links are there. The merch link is there for our t-shirts, and if you want to be on the show, a good way to contact me is through there as well. So, like I said, NHL, the next round has started this past Monday, I believe. We got Boston versus Tampa Bay, Dallas versus Colorado. Like I said at the top, New York Islanders versus Philly, and Vegas versus Vancouver. Now, even though some of these games already started, the Boston Tampa Bay game is tied at 1. The Dallas Colorado Avalanche Dallas is up 2-0. With the win today with the Flyers, that series is tied, and then the Vegas Vancouver is also tied. Now, actually, one of these games, there's a little story behind it. For example, we'll start off with the Vegas Knights. Marc-Andre Fleury, a little bit of goalie controversy going on there, and it sounded like this may be it for Fleury in Vegas, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit after I get my picks kind of tied in with Philly as well. Doesn't sound like he's going to be starting as much anymore for Vegas, with Rob Liner being the goalie now. But give my picks quick here. Vegas over Vancouver. I've always liked Vegas ever since they came into the league. I think how they had the draft, the expansion draft for that team, it was... I like it just because the talent, Vegas doesn't have to be at the bottom of the league for years and years till they built their talent pool. Year one, they were very competitive. And here they still are. Vancouver, they're good, but I don't think they'll be able to pull it out against Vegas. I think Vegas is going to pull this out. I'm going to say by game 6, Vegas will pull this out. Then Colorado versus Dallas. Dallas is up 2-0. I will never pick a Dallas team, whether it's Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Stars, I don't care. It's nothing against Dallas, it's just that I associate every Dallas team with the Cowboys. So I'm going with the Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, being down 2-0, they're going to probably have to go to a game 6, but I'm going to say they'll pull it off in game 7. Boston versus Tampa Bay. This is a good series. Seems like Boston finally woke up a little bit after the whole round robin fiasco. Tuca leaving the team due to worries about the COVID pandemic going on, and you can't blame him. I mean, he's worried about his family. He's got a couple of kids. You can't blame him for that. But he also may be done in Boston as well. As far as this game here, I like Tampa Bay. I think Boston is just too old. I think the window's closed on them. I really did think they were going to lose last round based off of how they played in the round robin. But I think Tampa Bay is just going to put up too many. Their offense is just too good, I think, for Boston. So I got Tampa Bay in 6. And then, like I said, Philadelphia Flyers versus the Islanders. This is a tough matchup, and here is my reasoning behind it. New York Islanders head coach Barry Trotz, formerly of the Washington Capitals, which their head coach got fired because of back-to-back first-round bounces, when Barry Trotz coached the Capitals, he had the Flyers numbers, and I think that's quite possibly might happen here. Game 1 just got the doors blown off of us. This game, we were up 3-0. It seemed like, they kind of pissed us off, after game 1. And jump out to a 3-0 lead with Carter Hart in net, which I was surprised again. I mean, this is 4 or 5 straight games he's starting. Only to give up a 3-0 lead, to tie it up, to have to go to overtime. All because our defensemen were giving Christmas gifts in our zone. Carter Hart's good. We finally found a goalie to solidify that position, but he only could do so much. You got 5 other guys in front of you. The defense has to be smart. Can't do pretty passes. Like Joel Farabee had definitely 1, maybe 2 drop passes, and there was no one there. You got to make sure you got people behind you coming up to be able to pick up that puck, because all it takes is one of those and lights out. Game's over, series over, you go home. If our defense can pick it back up, like how they played in the round robin. Kevin Hayes had 2 goals today. Philip Myers stepped up as far as the game-winning goal. Sean Couturier scored. So hopefully those are the big names. Sean Couturier, Claude Giroux. He needs to wake up. We need to get him going. Voracek was very good last series. Got to get those guys going, and then if the defense can pick their game up, I think we could pull this out. If the defense doesn't, Islanders by game 6. Now, if the defense picks up for Philly, I honestly think this is going to go a Game 7. It's going to be a hard-fought series. As far as my pick, my final pick, gotta go with my Flyers. Always gotta back them. The one goal that Carter Hart did give up today, he would make 10 out of 10 times, except for this one time. Well, so actually it'd be 9 out of 10 times. It was very, I think personally, it was a very easy goal he gave up. I think he needed to get a break. I think we gotta bring Brian Elliott in. Which brings me back to what I was talking about with Fleury in Vegas being done. Brian Elliott, I believe, is done after this year with his contract. Do we try to bring Fleury in? And I also did see some rumors about Matt Murray or Tristan Jarry possibly being traded this offseason. Do we try to trade for one of them? Get a very, very good, possibly young backup to help Hart out when he needs a break. You're not having that much of a talent drop off. So this offseason definitely is going to be interesting to see what direction the Flyers go with the goalie situation. Obviously, Hart is in there hopefully for the next 10 years, 15 years, however many years he wants to play. But that backup position is going to be a big role to fill. Sticking with Philly sports talk and Philly teams being ousted in the playoffs very quickly, 76ers obviously have lost and were swept this past weekend, which brought about the change in their coach, Brett Brown, being fired Monday. Everybody kind of saw it on the writing. Yeah, everybody saw it on the kind of writing. Everybody kind of saw the writing on the wall. And I know we don't, whether it's me or Shoulders or King that's on here, we don't really cover NBA too much, but I do still follow them because they're Philadelphia. Just seemed like he got as much as he could possibly out of this team that he could do. Can a different coach get more out of them? We'll have to wait and see. But after 7 seasons, Brett Brown has been fired as the Sixers head coach. And the future plan is Elton Brand will stay as the basketball operations overseeing it. But there is going to be change in the front office coming soon. Once Brett Brown was announced being fired, the rumor started, is Ben Simmons being traded? Is Joel Embiid being traded? I don't think they should. They're young. They're both young still. They're not at all old. I think if you could bring in another head coach that could really get the talent out of them and the supporting cast, I think you'd be okay. Now, let's say, like one of the rumored head coaches that they are going to be looking at is Ty Lue from the LA Clippers, the assistant, who won a championship with the Cavaliers in 2016. So granted, he did have LeBron James there, and Ben Simmons and Embiid is not LeBron James, but he's a good coach. So if you bring him in and you can't get more out of these two, well, maybe it is time. Maybe it's time to break up the band. Now, another name, as far as the head coach I saw on Twitter, was Greg Popovich. Again, with the San Antonio Spurs, what was it, 20-some seasons straight with playoff appearances? So obviously, I looks like they're going to go after someone with playoff experience, well-known name. And if it came down to those two, I would probably honestly go after Greg Popovich instead. I know there's 2 or 3 other teams looking at Ty Lue, so it may be hard to get him to begin with, but Greg Popovich may be the better choice, in my opinion, to help get the Sixers over that hump, because they've made the playoffs past 2 years, so the talent is there. It's just a matter of getting just a little bit more out of them so they can move on to the next round and hopefully championships. So a little Eagles news, moving into football here. Nigel Bradham, as you guys remember last week, I talked about how his controversial statements about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills, saying how nice it is to finally sign with a winning organization after his last 2 teams, which, like I said last week, he won a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles, and he made the playoffs 3 times with the Buffalo Bills. So I'm not too sure what he's talking about. And then when he kind of recanted the statement, he said, "Oh, well, I meant the way Chip Kelly built this, the organization, the feeling in there. It's a losing organization. But you signed with Doug Peterson." Well, earlier this week, Tuesday, the Saints have released him. Not even a month after they signed him. Now, the belief was when they signed him, he'd have a good chance to compete for the starting job. He was working behind the starters, Demario Davis, Alex Anzalone, and rookie third-rounder draft choice, Zach Bond. But just could not clinch up that starting position. It's just so great to see karma coming back and biting him, because is he a good player? Yeah, he is a good player. I wanted Philly to bring him back with how thin our linebacking core is. And you know what? After seeing one of our possible starters go down today with a knee injury, I mean, there's still a possible chance. I don't know if they will. It'll be interesting to see. But I'm not sure how, you're not going to go to the Patriots. So you may sign on to a losing team now, a losing organization. And how great would karma be if that did happen? But I just wanted to bring that story up because, like I said, I just had to laugh my ass off when I found that out. I'm like, man, not even 3 days after this statements came out about your what you said, and you're already gone without a job. This next story, I know I will keep everybody listening. Not sure if you guys saw, but Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Minshew, the starting quarterback there, sorry I had a brain fart for a second, has tag teamed up with Bud Light to give out free beer for fantasy football. And if you guys, I mean, it's probably on YouTube, but you gotta look for the Minshew commercial. He's talking in the mirror, trying to build himself up and kind of put him down Matthew Berry because of his rankings. And it's about 3-4 minutes long, but it's actually pretty funny. And at the end of it, he talks about how he teamed up with Bud Light. And what you got to do is you pick him in the first round of your fantasy draft, post a photo on social media with the hashtag Bud Light Minshew Draft and hashtag sweepstakes to be entered into a drawing for a $20 prepaid gift card to buy Bud Light. To make it even better, if anyone wins their fantasy league with Minshew as their starting quarterback, they'll have a chance to win cash equivalent that can be used to purchase 2 cases of Bud Light per month for 6 months. Listen, I'm not a Bud Light fan, and I'm sorry, Bud Light, if you were going to sponsor us, but I'm drafting them. First pick overall. I mean, free beer. Why not? And you know what? I actually may even just buy a jersey of his too, because he went on to say that he plays fantasy football, and he actually had himself on his own team last year, and even cut himself last year after the Saints game because he played so badly. He was even quoted saying that he doesn't know if he could lose twice in 1 week again because it was so bad. But Gardner Minshew still plays fantasy football. I wonder how that will work. If he drafts himself in the first round, wins the championship, is he eligible for the free beer? So all you gotta do, like I said, is you draft him in the first round, take a picture of it, put it on social media with the hashtag Bud Light Minshew Draft and hashtag sweepstakes to enter a chance. So before we go, talk a little UFC here. It was announced this past week Amanda Nunes will be facing Megan Anderson for the featherweight belt on December 12th. Location hasn't been determined yet. A lot of people think that if Nunes beats Megan Anderson, which she's going to open up as a heavy favorite if she didn't already, that they should shut down the featherweight division. I think just the opposite is going to happen. Do I think Megan Anderson's going to win? No. Manny Nunes is just too talented of a fighter to let her win. Granted, we saw it in Matt Serra versus GSP. I mean, stranger things have happened. That's why MMA is definitely one of the more entertaining sports because it's so unpredictable. Anybody could win at any time. But if Nunes wins, I honestly think she's going to be retired and walk away from the sport. Her and her girlfriend are expecting their first kid. She talked about retiring after her last fight or stepping away for some time. And I think if that were to happen, you can't shut down the division. Because now you have the division wide open, just like the whole John Jones situation. Gave up the light heavyweight belt, and I believe it opens up the division again. You got Dominic Reyes fighting John for the light heavyweight belt. Anthony Rebel Johnson just re-entered the testing pool, so he'll be back in February. And from what I saw was he's going to be fighting in the light heavyweight division. Lionheart Smith is fighting this weekend. Gets a win here. Maybe gets back on a run. So I think it opens up the division if Amanda Nunes retires. Well, I'm not saying she has to retire, but I'm just saying if she wins and it would be good. Go out on top, defending both your belts within a year and a half. Conor McGregor said he was going to do it, and what has he done? Still waiting for that Khabib fight that he's never going to get. So like I said, UFC Fight Night this weekend, Anthony Smith versus Alexander Rakic is the main event. Co-main event, we have Robbie Lawler versus Neil Magny. That should be an interesting fight. Women's flyweight fight, Alexa Grosso, who was knocked out by Megan Anderson in the last fight, is fighting Jayeon Kim. Before then, we have Ricardo Lomas versus Bill Allegio. And then another light heavyweight rematch with Magomed Anakhaliv versus Ion Kudalaba. Now, starting with that fight, Kudalaba in that last fight says he was playing possum, and I kind of believe him. He got clipped by Magomed and knocked him down to the point that it did look like he was rocked. Played possum, but once the ref called it off, he snapped out of it. And that's why I kind of think that. And I think that's why the UFC may have made this rematch. And as far as the stoppage, I think it was a good stoppage because the ref had to go off of what he saw. With how that fight started right before the bell rang, with Kudalaba going all the way across the ring and doing all that junk, I'm actually going to go with Magomed here. I think this time he's going to put him out. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he rocks him, he does a Dan Henderson and just drops a couple extra ones just to make sure. After that, Ricardo Lomas versus Bill Allegio. I'm going Ricardo Lomas here. It's been around a while. Has the experience. Not sure if he's ever going to be able to get to the top of the division, but very entertaining fighter. Picking him. After those guys, we have a women's flyweight fight here. Grosso versus Jayeon Kim. I'm thinking Grosso here is going to bounce back. Kim is a tough opponent, but I'm going with Grosso for the win. Then the co-main event, Robbie Lawler versus Neil Magny. Both very good fighters. Robbie Lawler obviously is a legend. I just think it's his time, and I'm going with Neil Magny here. Again, if Lawler loses, depending on how he loses, if it's a decision, if it's a war, maybe give him another fight. But if it's a brutal beatdown, maybe it's time to hang him up. And in the main event, Anthony Smith versus Alexander. I'm going to go Anthony Smith here. Now, we all remember his last fight against Glover Teixeira. Spitting teeth out. Teixeira saying, "I'm sorry, but I got to do this." I think he bounces back, and he has that personality that you want to root for. And I hope he gets on a winning streak here to compete for the light heavyweight belt. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this week. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, ST Sports Podcast, I may be live tweeting actually during the Flyers game tomorrow. Not sure if I'll be on for fight night. Got some family plans to do that. But find all our social media contacts over at staytunesports.net. Like and share all our YouTubes, Facebook, all that stuff. And make sure you guys subscribe. Subscribe to Spotify, iTunes, wherever you guys listen to us. So, till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out.